Well, I hear it a lot that I'm just going to take Social Security as soon as possible because I don't know if it's going to be around. I don't know if I'm going to be around. And I just am going to take it right when I retire. And I certainly understand the thought process behind that, and I can sympathize with that because of it is a very realistic look at the world. And Disney cast members, Disney professionals, uh, by the time they're thinking about when to take Social Security, oftentimes they've had a good long real look at the world, whether through the corporate world or even if they're guest facing, and so we understand the realities of life and the realities how things work out. However, I caution anybody that's really trying to claim Social Security early for a few reasons, and so wanted to talk through that today. So the first thing is understanding that there is a break even in the life expectancy, your life expectancy, how long you might live, and when to take Social Security. Now, basically, what that looks like is you're adding up. Okay, if I claim it early, let's say you want to retire at 62, and at 62 you claim it, and it's $1,500 a month. But if you wait until full retirement age, and I didn't run the specific numbers, so don't hold me to this. Is just an example, but if you at retirement, at full retirement age, which is age 67 for most people now, that is $2,200 a month. Well, you might think, well, yeah, I can. It maybe is more money per month, but I'm going to be able to use that $1,500 a month for that 5 year period, and so that's going to you'll be able to use more benefit over time. So we want to understand, okay, what's the break even? Meaning, at different claiming time frames, how long do you have to live to be able to get the full or the same value out of when you claim the money? And usually it ends up working out sometime into your mid to late 70s is the break even time frame. And so mid to late 70s, most people think, well, I'd rather have the money now. By that time I won't care if I have the money. And so we I caution against that mindset though, because odds are if you're close to your 60s, you're in decent health, and there's lots of research on this. Now, if you're not in decent health, that's the consideration where we're claiming early, I think, is a prudent thing. If you're not in decent health, meaning you have some heart issues or you have a history of there's not longevity in your family, or there's some sort of health issue, cancer or something of that nature, then yes, taking Social Security early is probably a good thing. But we really want to be considerate about when the break even is, because most of the time it's mid to late 70s, and having clients in the mid to late 70s, oftentimes they feel like they've got a good 15, 20 years left to go, and oftentimes that's the case where maybe not the majority of people, but enough, maybe 1 out of 3 or 1 out of 4 people are making it into, once you're in your 60s, 1 out of 3, 1 out of 4, uh, even 50% of the people are making it into into their 80s, into their 90s, and that money ends up being a considerable amount of money of income, part of your income, as because due to the inflation adjustments that Social Security makes, that ends up being a pretty big part of your income over your retirement time frame. And so we really want to consider when is the break even, and is there any reason any reason outside of outside of your own maybe possible bias around what may happen to Social Security or something of that nature. That if you think you're going to live long, then I think that's typically a good way to go, is to plan on living longer and trying to delay Social Security if you can. The second consideration is how does Social Security work out with your, if you're married, with your spousal benefits. Now, there are a lot of folks that are two income households, and so each of you may have your own Social Security, and coordinating each other's benefits to try to maximize benefits, or at least to be able to help provide the income that you need in retirement, is a prudent approach, because we want to, for example, uh, let's say you both make about the same amount of money. Well, perhaps the right strategy is understanding that if you do have if one of you claims early, to help really get you to the ability to retire because you're just done with working and you want to retire and you need that extra 1,500, 2,000, $2,500 a month, to make it happen. Well, perhaps one claims earlier and the other waits longer, even into to the 70, the maximum age, because what happens is, the odds are, especially for a couple, the odds are even further increased if there's a couple that one of you is going to make it into late 80s, early 90s, if not longer. And so when one spouse passes away, though, the detriment in retirement planning with Social Security is when we're planning on two spousal incomes lasting for the entirety of a lifetime, that doesn't always work out. And so one spouse passes away. So then there's just one remaining Social Security benefit, and Social Security provides whichever the higher benefit was for the surviving spouse. So that's still, you get the higher benefit, but you lose the other benefit completely. And so we want to understand those trade-offs of, okay, if you both claim early, then you have both minimized benefits, and then eventually one of your benefits may go away. Now, I hope that's not the case. I hope that you have long lives and you pass away in your sleep, holding each other, like the movies would hope. But in reality, it doesn't always happen like that. So you need to understand the planning and coordinating with your spouse, and claiming strategies with your spouse. And the third thing is, understanding the timing of income in general. So Social Security is one part of your overall income plan. Another part may be your Disney pension. And when do you take the Disney pension? Do you start that early? Do you wait until 65? Uh, and and then your savings as well. So we want to understand, okay, well, do you want to, is it more prudent to delay your Social Security and live off of your savings, or is it more prudent to start taking Social Security and delay taking your investments, taking income from your investments? I do hear some people say, well, I don't really need the money, but I want to take it because I don't know if it's going to be there, so I'm going to take it and I'm going to save it. Well, Social Security has a pretty hefty increase of benefit year over year. So it increases by a little over 7% roughly, year over year, every year that you delay taking it. So a 7% return is a solid return, even in this environment where interest rates have come up. It's really hard to get an almost guaranteed return close to 7%. So we want to really understand, okay, if you're going to invest it, are you really comfortable taking the risk with that money that maybe is going to potentially get you better than the 7%, but you can also lose substantially more than that as well, even 20 or 30%. And so there's trade-offs that we need to understand. And so the coordination of the timing of the income with your other income sources. So perhaps you have the pension and perhaps you have savings. Do you start living off of your savings, delaying Social Security and pension until later because you allow those to grow on a guaranteed basis while you're taking risk in your portfolio? Or if you're not taking risk in your portfolio, then your earnings are probably much less than the guaranteed rates that are increasing on the pension and Social Security. So those are just some of the things that I think Disney professionals should think through as they're thinking about taking Social Security, when to take Social Security, and how that might work out. And so, if you found value in that, feel free to give me a like or leave a comment, asking questions. Subscribe to the channel on YouTube. And my name is Kyle Newell. I work with a lot of Disney folks with their retirement planning, investment management, tax planning, things of that nature. And I'd be happy to chat if you have questions. I hope you found value in that, and I hope you take good care. Alrighty, bye bye.